So diets are marketed as a way to lose weight, but the vast majority of them actually cause weight gain. In this video, we're gonna go over why that happens, both the biological and the psychological reasons of why dieting leads to weight gain. We're also gonna go over what you can do about it and how you can actually work to find the weight that your body wants to be at, where you feel best both mentally and physically. So let's first talk about the biological reasons of why dieting leads to weight gain. So I want you to pretend that you're looking at a thermostat. And when something goes out of range, whether it's too low or too high, that thermostat is gonna kind of course correct, right? Because it wants to keep it in a certain range. Well, our bodies actually have kind of an internal thermostat, and this is called the set point weight theory. I have an entire video that explains it. But essentially, this is our bodies have a weight range. It's typically about 10 to 20 pounds, most scientists say, that our body wants to be at, right? So this essentially is that thermostat that our bodies have. When our weight dips too low, our bodies are going to want to adjust increased hunger, packing on some extra weight to increase back to that range. Same thing happens when our bodies go too high. Maybe our hunger level changes, our bodies want to feel more active. Our bodies do have this internal thermostat, like I said, that's kind of called the set point weight theory. So right now I want to focus on when that thermostat gets too low. So we're dieting, right? We have that restriction, our bodies aren't getting enough energy. What typically happens is our bodies are gonna say, oh my gosh, I better pack on some extra pounds so that if this starvation, which essentially is what it thinks is happening, happens again, then I'm prepared with some extra energy reserves on store. So it's likely going to take that thermostat and get you back towards that range, but it's likely also gonna pack some more on so that again, if it dips that way in the future, it has a little bit of extra energy reserve. Make sense? Now, what also can happen is our metabolism can actually slow. So the rate that we're burning energy, we're burning calories, can actually slow. Our bodies start to become much more efficient at actually utilizing the energy that we have. So you're actually burning less to do the same amount of work with your body. Our bodies are much more concerned with that thermostat dipping too low than they necessarily are with it dipping too high, which is why dieting typically causes weight gain, because our bodies kind of go into it starts it starts to send off signals when that thermostat dips too low, and it's going to, like I said, it's going to be very, very concerned about that and want to pack on that extra weight. So essentially that is a very simplified version of why dieting causes weight gain, likely and then some, right? We always hear about yo-yo dieting and weight cycling, where yes, we might lose weight initially, but it typically comes back and then has extra, right? Comment below if you've ever experienced weight regain after a period of dieting. I know you're not the only one. Okay, so now let's talk about the psychological side of why dieting causes weight gain. So dieting actually causes us to want more food and to want the food that we're deeming off limits, right? Typically like the cookies, the ice cream, the pizza, all those things. And we're likely going to want to eat them in larger amounts, and that can likely lead to that weight gain after dieting. This actually increases the brain's motivation and reward response for that food, like I said, making you want them more. So think about the cookies. You say, I can't have the cookies. You're gonna wanna eat the cookies more and likely in larger amounts. There's kind of this all or nothing thinking where it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't had cookies when I was dieting. I haven't had them in so long. I better get them while I can. Have you ever said that to yourself? I definitely have. And it's kind of like this all or nothing phenomenon. Either I'm gonna eat all the cookies right now and I have to get them while I can because our body sense that restriction. So that's kind of part of that psychological reason. And likely when this happens, when we eat those cookies that we say we can't have, we do this, like I said, in larger amounts that typically doesn't feel good. It is really that restrict binge cycle that a lot of times dieting, my past self included, has gotten into. Comment below if you've experienced that pull towards those off-limit foods when dieting. I definitely have in the past. Now, there's so much more than just kind of the vanity aspects of it. So now let's talk about the health impacts of dieting that leads to weight gain. Because to be honest with you guys, it goes so much deeper than just kind of the vanity aspects of it and saying, oh, you know, I want to lose weight to look a certain way, to fit these unrealistic ideas of beauty culture. And it really, like I said, does go into the health aspect of it. Dieting that leads to weight gain can be detrimental for your health. Studies have shown that weight cyclers, so what I mean by weight cycling is when we lose weight initially on a diet and then we gain some back and then we lose some, and then because we go on another diet and then we gain some back. That's what I mean by weight cycling. And weight cycling has been tied to visiting doctors more often, having poor perceived health, different disease states. And also weight cyclers tend to use more medications. Now, this weight cycling actually is tied to increased fat mass as well. And also it's increasing the likelihood of future regain. So every time you go on a diet, lose it, gain some back, lose it, you are increasing your likelihood for that regain. We already know that there's a strong, vast majority regain that weight, but you are even increasing it more with every cycling. Okay, so what do we do about this, right? How do we stop dieting from leading to weight gain? You gotta stop dieting. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you guys. Dieting is, like I said, a predictor of weight gain. As an intuitive eating dietitian, I truly believe that intuitive eating is how you find the style of eating that feels good to you, that promotes optimal health, both mentally and physically. That's why I do what I do, right? Now, this idea of, okay, just stop dieting, sounds way easier than it is. I have an entire video that walks you through the process of how to actually do that, the 3 actual steps to take. And these are things that I teach in the Society Intuitive Eating community. But really, I think it's really important to focus first on the biological needs. So those things that we talked about first, and getting your body to a place of adequate energy. When I always talk about intuitive eating, people automatically always think, okay, so I'm just gonna go eat donuts and learn to listen to my body. That's not really the case. That's not really how it works. I recommend first getting your body to a place where it's getting enough overall energy, you're meeting your biological needs, and then focusing more on the psychological side of things and allowing yourself to make peace with the cookies, make peace with the ice cream. When you try to tackle them both at once, it can feel very overwhelming, and you're kind of getting that pull from 2 different angles, meaning you're having that pull to eat all the cookies because your body needs the energy, but you're also having the pull of the cookies because of the psychological reasons. So I find that first focusing on, okay, let me just eat enough overall energy. First of all, that can be hard enough in itself for dieters, but just allowing yourself to do that and then working through your food rules. And I teach that in a very specific way, a very stepwise way in the society, is very, very beneficial. This style of teaching intuitive eating is just much more manageable. And what I find is it keeps that body attunement, because the goal is to learn how to listen to your body, right? And not have to follow diets, to be able to eat in a style that makes you feel good mentally and physically. If we try to do all of the things at once, a lot of times we detach from that body attunement, and it can make it a little bit difficult to regain that. So don't overwhelm yourself, focus on the biological, then the psychological. Now, the goal of intuitive eating is to find the weight that your body wants to be at. That set point weight that we talked about, right? For some, that means weight loss happens, weight gain, weight maintenance happens. None of these things are bad. They all just happen, right? Bottom line, your set point weight is the weight that you feel best at mentally and physically, where you're not obsessed with food, where you can eat cookies and carrots and cupcakes in ways that feel good to you, not having any of those biological or psychological needs to eat all of the things, right? Eating becomes easy. Regardless of what social media says, intuitive eating is not just eating donuts and cupcakes all day long. It's just not. That would not feel good. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful for you. In my next video, actually, we're gonna go in much more detail on metabolic damage. And we briefly talked about this in the biological part, but how our metabolism slows. So if you guys want to learn more about intuitive eating, I'm going to post some resources in the description of this. I'll post where you can learn more about the society, where I teach intuitive eating, but also a blog post on more on what is intuitive eating, because like I said, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. It is not just donuts all day. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe to the channel down there, and hit the little bell to be notified. Because like I said, in the next video, we're gonna go over much more in detail why that metabolic slowing, why our body starts to burn less energy actually happens. You do not wanna miss it, because I'm also gonna tell you how to fix that, okay? So if you guys, again, like this video, thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you guys back next week with another video.